Hello, everyone. Welcome to the official second episode of Short Game Long Talk. And this is going to be an excitingly short episode because there's not much to talk about in a game that is all about the experience with zero dialogue and almost zero words in the game entirely. My name is Eric with my co-host
Jess.
And what game did we play?
We played Untitled Goose Game.
Yes, which is on theme because it was just Thanksgiving yesterday. Some people eat goose, I'm sure. I mean, really, it's more of like the turducken is the abomination.
Never understood turducken.
I saw a TikTok of one, and it's just the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I barely like turkey.
Yeah, that's why I didn't eat any yesterday.
I didn't either. But yes, we played Untitled Goose Game, and we sat down, and I played this game when it came out. It's made by House, which is just a hilarious name for a game developer, and it came out in 2019. I don't know if I bought it like right when it came out, but I bought it fair. It's like a $15 to $20 game, and I would say it's 100% worth it.
It was so fun.
Yeah, and when I played it by myself and single player, and I remember having a lot of fun with it. Not really like looking up too much stuff. The puzzles kind of came naturally, even when they were challenging. But since 2019, when it came out, they introduced a co-op mode. So when Jess was like, I want to play Untitled Goose Game, I was like, sick, we can do the co-op mode. And that's what we did. And I think we beat this game in like 2.5 hours, maybe.
Yeah,
it was very fast.
It was really, really quick.
But it was very fun. But what did you think of the game?
I loved it.
Yeah.
The fact that you can quack.
Yeah. Honk.
Honk.
Yeah.
Quack.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Well,
I think it is literally like press Y to honk, though. Is like literally what the prompt is.
No, but it was so fun. If I could go back and replay it for the first time, automatically would.
Well, that's what's great is I told you like right when we beat it, like I think
there's a bunch of
there's a bunch of extra
missions.
stuff, and on top of that, you played it with me, so like. If you were to play it through by yourself, it'd be completely different because the way we solved puzzles was just like half the time we just brute forced our way through it because there was two of us. The most chaotic was just like, whenever there was like a person that would try to, we should probably explain the game because the game is just called Untitled Goose Game, which is just like, what does that even mean? Would you like to take a crack at explaining this game?
I can try.
Yeah.
So basically, it starts off where you're a goose. Obviously, there's only like four things you can do, which is move, honk, and move, honk, grab, and then flap your wings.
Yes, and you're still technically right because the flapping the wings thing is not really like.
Oh, that's part of running.
No, it's a button, but it doesn't do anything except for one puzzle. Like literally, there's only one actual use for that in the entire game. So it's just so funny. It's just like, and you can raise and lower your head.
Oh yeah,
that's the other thing. Like, but yeah, it literally like starts you off in like a forest, and you're just like. Yeah. Press. I think the first button prompt is just like press Y to honk, and the goose isn't on screen, and it's just like, like okay, this is what we're doing.
So you go through this forest, and then you get to this pond right next to a garden, and then it gives you it tells you like how to maneuver the game, and obviously, way better than Inside did.
I know, for real.
I didn't know jack about it.
Yeah. There was 3 buttons in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
there was
run, grab.
Yeah, that was it. So less, man. Next game's gonna have 10 buttons.
But then you go to this pond and this garden, and it gives you like a task list of what you need to do, and you practically just go around terrorizing this poor man in his garden. Mm-hmm. And there's a bunch of puzzles that you have to figure out, and then you go on to the next level, more puzzles. It's a big puzzle game that you just cause chaos in.
It's an isometric view, which basically means you're not like top down, and you don't control the camera really. All you can do is like zoom in and out. But an isometric view is basically the camera angle is the same the entire time, and they present you with a for the, like you said, the garden, and there's a guy, and it's like, and it gives you a list of things to do, where like one of them is like a simple one is just rake in the lake, right? That's like the first one you'll probably end up doing. You go into the garden and
grab the
rake,
and you toss it in the lake,
and then you get that crossed off, and it's literally just a to-do list of terrorizing things. Which I think, man, it gets there. Most of them are really funny, but there's a couple that are like just like really mean that I always feel really bad about. But the game overall, yeah, it's just a bunch of puzzles. And what's fun is when you do beat the game, you get to like there's like extra puzzles, which you can kind of do. You can do if you want to, but it's just like more time like in the game, but it's not necessary. But really, I'm trying to think of like what else we can talk about this game before kind of like discussing some of the puzzles, because I don't want to like spoil some of our favorite puzzles. But what did you like about this game in general?
I liked how you didn't have to do things in order.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were parts of the puzzle where we definitely skipped over parts,
Yeah.
but we got there quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Like the gardener getting him in the lake instead of
Oh
wetting
yeah,
him.
that's right. That actually shocked me, because there's not necessarily one way to solve all the puzzles. There's certain ones that it's like, yeah, there's only one way to solve it, but in the first one, which is not really a spoiler, you have to get the gardener wet. And the way I did it when I first played it was like with the sprinkler. And then the way we did it was by complete accident, because we like stole his radio or his keys or something, and he went into the lake to go get them. And then it was like, oh yeah, you got him wet. It's like, oh yeah, I guess that does make sense. He did go into the lake, so he's wet. But yeah, that is super cool that nothing has to be done in order.
Yeah.
I think for me, like just playing through this in co-op, just the absolute chaos of this game was so funny. The fact that you can mash the honk button as fast as humanly possible and it just registers it completely.
There was parts where both of us were honking, so I was like,
yeah, it's so bad. Meanwhile, we played this up in a cabin, and my wife was working like 10 feet away from us, and it's just like, and it's like, oh my God. I don't know how she got any work done, but fun fact that the 2 times I've played and beat this game have been in the mountains, which I guess is the aesthetic. This game is made by a British developer too. So the town, if you do play this game and you're like, what is up with this town? It's because it's like based off of a small British village.
They're English.
Yeah, they're English.
Gross.
What do you have against English people?
They're English.
English?
It's just
you got beef with English. Okay,
yep.
Cool. Good to know. And
am I gonna get canceled?
Yeah, you're gonna get canceled by the British people. So it has some weird things where you're like, what is this? And some of the phrases are a little weird. Like, I don't know off the top of my head, but if you read the to-do list, you're like, what does that mean? And it's because it's like a British slang of some kind. And then another,
like the cleaners.
Yeah. That's right. They talk about a couple different like cleaning, and then I think they use the word trolley a couple times too,
Yeah.
like instead of a shopping cart. And then the other thing, before we go into the break, because I don't think there's too much more we can talk about before we just talk about puzzles.
Yeah.
This is literally going to be the shortest episode of our entire show, probably. The middle segment's going to have to take the brunt of this to make it longer. But the way this game was developed or decided to develop was House had a Slack, I think, and they somebody sent a picture of a goose, and they're like, what do we think about this? And they're like, I like the way their neck is long. I like the way they honk. I like the way they flap their wings. And then they just did that for a little while, and then they're like, all right, we're going to make a game. And then the fact that it came out because and there was a trailer for it, and the trailer was kind of showing off the game a little bit, but it wasn't too much like in detail. And then the title came up, and it was like Untitled Goose Game. In the corner it said working title, right? Like that's just how titles are sometimes. and everyone was like, "Oh man, I hope they don't change the name." And then they just kept the name, so it's just Untitled Goose Game, and it is hilarious that that is just what the name of the game is. Do you have any closing thoughts before we go into our break?
Fun fact. I used to be obsessed. I just thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be obsessed with Untitled Goose Game, even though I'd never watched like a playthrough
Really?
or like played it before. What it was 2020, so I was like sophomore year.
Yeah, it came out late 2019.
Yeah. I was obsessed with it because all my friends were obsessed with it. So obviously I had to jump on the bandwagon there.
Yeah.
And there was this thing, because I was doing online school at the time. There was this thing that you could download for your desktop where it was a little goose. And if you clicked it enough, it would start stealing your tabs.
That's right.
And it would bring in like little sticky notes of like, Goose doesn't like you.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I downloaded it. Knowing absolutely nothing about it.
That is so funny. I literally remember that, like, because from 2020 to like early 2021, it was just like a blur. But I do remember that. Yeah. What was the fascination with like geese at the time? Like all of a sudden it was just like, because there's no way like that came out. I don't think it was by the same developers, but that came out like so close by Untitled Goose Game. It was like they had that ready to go and just like piggybacked off the success of Untitled Goose Game, which is just so funny.
And it was free to download too, which was like my favorite thing because I was like, fun thing to keep me entertained while I do my Algebra 2 class.
No, yeah, exactly. Just distracting you. It's like, literally you could say like your pet ate your homework. It's like, oh, a goose destroyed my homework. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's online. I'm like, well, he's right there and he's a dick. But yeah, this game is very fun. Before we go into spoilers to kind of talk about some of the puzzles, which is literally the only spoilers of this game is puzzles. I would highly recommend this game. It's usually on sale. It's, I believe, under $20, and it's a fun time. And co-op makes it another fun time. So there's definitely replay value, and there's also like bonus things you can do once you beat the game. So I would recommend this game for a pretty fun afternoon. And it's really good on the Switch. I would recommend highly on the Switch.
So fun on the Switch.
Yeah. Especially if you're playing it by yourself, handheld. It's very fun to just kind of dick around and mess with people in a small village. But yeah, that's it, and we will see you guys in a second after the break. Okay, we're back for the break. We're going to talk about some of the games we're playing right now, which for me, I first update was I bought a Steam Deck, which is over there on my desk that I haven't touched yet because I got Pokemon. And I want to beat Pokemon before I start messing with the Steam Deck, because after I do that, I feel like my life is going to like slow down and I'm just going to play that forever. So right now I'm playing Pokemon Scarlet, and I will preface this by saying I enjoy this game. It's fun. It is a graphical nightmare and it doesn't run very well, but I still think it's a great game. I'm also a diehard Pokemon fan and have been playing Pokemon games my entire life. So take that with a grain of salt. If you do not like Pokemon games, you probably will not put up with the bad graphics and awful running of this game. But if you like Pokemon games, you'll like this game, because that is basically what everyone is saying. It's like, do you like Pokemon games? Yes, you'll love this game. I love this game. It's fun, but it's also flawed. That's totally fine. That's all I'm going to say about it right now, besides the fact that I have a Pokemon that has a giant Warhammer, and it's incredible. It starts out with a bottle, and then it evolves and has like a little mace, and then it evolves again, and it has a hammer that's like bigger than its entire self. It's hilarious, and it's one of my favorite new Pokemon. I don't want to spoil too much because Jess hasn't got it yet. But
I won't get it till December.
Yeah, but hey, by the time we record next, maybe
Hopefully
she'll have it.
I'll have it.
But it is very fun. But it does run like dog crap. But that also can be fixed with patches and stuff. So hopefully that happens. But we don't want to overlook the fact that this game could be way better, and the developers were probably rushed. There's a whole slew of things that led to this game being the way it is. But you can see that the passion for trying to make the game something new and interesting for the Pokemon franchise. They tried to do that. I think they succeeded. It just needs to be like a little more polished. That's it. People have said their game crashes a lot. There's a lot of bugs. I haven't really had too many bugs. My game's crashed once in 15, 20 hours. Not that bad. But the frame rate and issues like that, quite bad. I will say that. But it's still a fun Pokemon game. And I think the characters and the story are actually really good, which is shocking. And I think the side quests are really fun. And I just like the whole premise. My only actual complaint about the game, and I don't know if this is if this gets fixed post game, because right now you're a student at the academy. For Scarlet, it's Naranja Academy, orange, and then for Violet, I forget what it is, but you guys are purple. Makes sense. But you're stuck in your school clothes. You have 4 outfits to pick from, and then you can change your shoes, your backpack, your glasses, and your hat and gloves, which, okay. But you're stuck and the outfits are fine, but Sword and Shield have some of the best fashion in a Pokemon game, period. Like, they have clothes in there that I bought specifically in real life because I was like, that looks sick as hell. And so I'm hoping, and I think, have an inkling, I'm trying not to spoil myself too much, but I have an inkling that once you beat the game and you're no longer doing the main story, you can like change your outfits. So that's my take so far. I like the game a lot. The new Pokemon are pretty sick. I'm very happy with my choice of starter. I've seen all of them now, all of the final evolutions. I don't think there's a wrong pick. I think they're all good.
Okay, noted.
None of them, like, the middle evolutions are actually all good. Surprisingly. You're picking Sprigatito, right?
Yes.
I like the final evolution. It's a little Digimon-esque, but I like it. I think it's cool. You won't be disappointed, I think. I actually, you know what? No, you're gonna love it. Now that I forgot.
I'm thinking of who you're talking to.
You're gonna love it. It's cool. I think it's cool. I think it's an interesting This is a really strong group of starters, and I think it's a really good game. But Jess, what have you been doing?
So I have, for a while I stopped because I had a lot of things happening at school and just like with friends and stuff. So I was like, you know what? Games can wait. Mm-hmm. Sleep is now.
Yeah. Games are always going to be there. You don't have to worry about that.
But I just restarted playing Shield. Mm-hmm. I completely forgot where I was. Yeah. Until like I started playing again, and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." Yeah. And like I completely forgot about my character, and then I looked at her, and I was like, "God damn, I'm swag." No, but it's fun. Right now I'm trying to level up my Noibat. Mm-hmm. His name is Drake.
Yeah. It's a good Pokemon.
And he keeps freaking dying because I put him up against the worst like ones that I can put him up against. But because they're all like higher levels, they're not higher than him. Yeah. But they are higher levels. Yeah. And I don't really know the type.
The 12 different type advantages and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I just kind of this one says effective.
Yeah, that's one of the best things they've added to new Pokemon games. I think they added it in either X and Y or Sun and Moon. That like once you meet, like you fight a Pokemon, it doesn't say anything, but the second time you fight that Pokemon, it says if it's super effective, not effective, no effect. Awesome. Incredible. Because even I have to look up, like, there's like the obvious ones, like, you know, the fire, water, grass, easy. And then there's ones that make sense as well. Like electric is super effective against water, things like that. Great.
Fairy, dragon.
Yes, those ones get so confusing.
Never like
fighting, dark. Those ones get very confusing. So I even have to look up stuff. So it is very cool that it does put like it's one of the better things they've changed. But yeah, so how's that going? How's your journey?
It's going pretty good. I got like halfway. I think it's Route 6 that I'm on. It's right after the fire.
Okay. It's like deserty, right? Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. You were talking about outfits in Scarlet, but I was looking at my outfit and I was like, I remember like styling it, and I was like, this is exactly what I would wear at in regular day-to-day life. Yeah. It's just that I dyed my character's hair pink. Because...
didn't they start you out with like a skirt and stuff, right? Yeah. As the girl character, it's like literally like that you wear those all the time.
Yeah, and then there's it's the Water City. They have. I think it's the what? No.
Is there a lighthouse?
No. I was thinking of a different thing that I bought there, but it's the one with the
the main city. Yeah.
Mosatok or something.
I don't know. Yeah.
But it's with the little elevator that you have to use to get up and down. Yeah. They have this little where you can shop and get your clothes at, and they have the plaid skirts that I always wear and tights, and then like a shirt that I would actually wear, and I was like, am I about to spend like $1 million polka dollars right now? Polka dollars?
I don't know actually what the money is. Yeah, so
it's just with the P with 2 dashes.
Yeah, so I mean it could just be that.
6 pence?
Yeah, exactly. A few pounds.
British.
Yeah. I know, for real. Again, British. Yeah, because it is literally Sword and Shield is set in like England, so that's so funny.
But yeah, no, I really like it. One of mine just leveled up, and I can't remember which one it was.
I remember you had Gossifleur, you had Noibat, you had
Claritin, Drake.
Yeah, you had your Score Bunny,
Kenneth.
Yeah, Kenneth, and then I don't know.
Bob is the spider.
Bob, yeah.
What's the bubble on his head?
Yeah, Dewpiter. I remembered that the other day, and I was just like randomly playing, and I was like, Dewpiter. That's right. That's what the name of that thing is that we talked about a month ago. And then you obviously have Honey, which is the corgi that evolves into Bolton, which is like a really Boltund. Yeah,
it ends with a D.
Yeah, you're right. So that's 5. So who's the other one? I'm trying to think of who you could even catch at the point you're at.
Who's my 6?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We got all of them.
It's the one that I switch out regularly with different Pokemon.
Gotcha.
But like right now I have my regular base team.
Do you know what it looks like?
No.
Oh wow.
I just know that like it's pretty like higher than my other ones because I've used it for a gym.
Okay.
And so I switch it out with things in my box to like level those up too. God, why can't I remember it?
I don't know.
That's gonna...
Yeah, that's gonna bug you.
Yeah. Oh, but here's an update.
Okay.
I was talking to Jared about it.
Yeah.
Jared is my brother.
Yeah.
About like Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
And this was actually a while ago. This was when like a couple months after we bought it, but I never told you. He was like, oh, I want to trade you some Pokemon. And so I was like, okay. He's gonna give like base levels for base levels. I mean, obviously. We start trading. I get like a level 1 shiny Oshawott from him. And I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
And then the next trade, I traded like, it was the garbage Pokemon.
Oh, Garbodor. Or Trubbish.
Trubbish.
He's a little trash bunny.
Yeah. I traded Trubbish. And you know what I got? A level 60 Ditto.
Interesting. That's for breeding purposes, probably. Yeah. That is so funny.
And I was like, Jared, why'd you give me this? And he was like, I have an extra.
That's so funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had to rename the Oshawott though because he bought it from he traded it with someone else online, and it was like I forgot its name, but I was like, I'm changing that.
You were able to change it? I thought you couldn't change it.
You can rename them.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that was a thing because I thought after trading you couldn't change the names, but that's good. That's another thing. So they took... Did you play Pokemon Legends Arceus?
No.
Yeah, okay. You would really like that one.
The only ones I've played were the ones on my DS, like Diamond, Platinum, and Gold. And then I played a little bit of Jared's on the 3DS, the Pokemon X. I didn't actually like play it. I just kind of like... He'd be like, here, go catch Pokemon. And me being the younger sibling, I'd be like, yes!
Yeah, that's so funny. So they... in Pokemon Legends Arceus, they added 2 things that I feel like you can do this in at least this part. I think you can do in Sword and Shield, which is you can change your Pokemon. Like you can access your box from anywhere, right? You can do that.
I think so.
But what they added in Pokemon Legends Arceus that transferred over to Scarlet and Violet is the fact that you can change their names at any time. So you can change nicknames whenever, just from the box, which you can access from any time. And the biggest thing that they added in Pokemon Legends Arceus is when a Pokemon learns a move, and say you delete an old one, before you could go to what was called the move deleter and the move relearner and things like that to get those moves back. You can do that at any time, just for free. So like you can change up the way a Pokemon functions based off of their move list, like at any time.
Sick.
So if they learn a move, you have that in the bank forever, and you can pull it in and pull it out whenever you want. It's so cool. And it was another amazing thing that they did in the last game. So
I think I had to rename it. I had to go to the you know how in the Poke Center there's the box, there's a blue guy who like has a potion thingy next to him. Not the Pokemart, but like it's like, oh, judge my name. Yeah. And then you give them a Pokemon. And it's and he's like, oh, it's a good name, but let's find something better.
Yeah, exactly. So that they basically got rid of that guy, and just you can just do that wherever you want now.
Sick.
Yeah. So definitely think that was a really step in the right direction with Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I'm glad they kept that, because so many things. It's just like, why do I have to go to a guy to change my Pokemon's name? I named it. Like, what do you mean that I have to have this guy rate my name, and then he'd be like, oh, we can
do better.
Yeah. Like, what do you? Okay. I know. That's why I'm here. Like, I want to change the name. And then also, like, yeah, why is it so that a Pokemon, once you learn a move and delete another one, you have to, like, find a very specific item to trade in for a guy, for your Pokemon to relearn the move that they already knew. So,
yeah, that's what always, like, I was like, when I was playing on my DS, my little DS Lite, it was pink.
Nice.
I had 2 pink DSs. Could you tell who was the youngest and the only girl?
Yeah. 2?
Yeah, 2.
That's quite a bit. I only had 1, and it was a hand-me-down from my buddy. Yeah.
Jared got 1. Jenna got 1. I got 2 pink DSs.
Wow.
But that's because one of them we found at a yard sale.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That makes sense.
And it had a cool case with Mario and Luigi, and it was a clear case. But then Jared was like, I want it.
You got your 2 DSs. You can have the case.
Yeah, you can have the case, I guess.
Yeah.
But that was like the thing that I didn't like about it was I like once I was like, oh, I'm gonna trade, I'm gonna unlearn flying and get, I forgot, like the scratch.
Yeah.
And I got to a part where you needed flying. Yeah. And I was like, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. That stuff is, it just doesn't make sense. And that's the other thing is like, yeah, that was a TM or HM, and they've gotten rid of those since Sun and Moon, which is great. Like, you don't have to worry about having a Pokemon that knows a move that you're only going to use a couple times and then never again. So that's awesome. And then, yeah, once you start playing Scarlet and Violet, we can talk more about it, but it's a fun game. It's a good game. Sword and Shield, also a good game. Pokemon Legends Arceus, also a good game. I have that physically, so if you ever want to borrow it in the future, you can. It's great. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about before we head into spoiler section?
I'm chilling.
Okay, cool. We'll see you guys in a second. All right, we're back in the spoiler section. So if you are interested in this game based off of what we talked about, we're going to talk about, I mean, honestly, there's not going to be too much that's going to spoil it for you, but we will be talking about some puzzles and how we solved them, or just like what we did. I still think it's worth experiencing it, even if you do get it spoiled, because it's very funny. But to go off of what we did, we started off at the garden. Pretty simple. We did some stuff that like just mess with a gardener. That's it. There's really not much else. That one's definitely the easiest self-explanatory one. It's a very fun little area.
Really helps you get your bearings
exactly
down about it.
Yeah, and like timing and how that, because the gardener kind of teaches you that like once a person gets close to you and they're chasing after you, you kind of like lose control of the goose and like drop whatever you have, and he pushes you around, and so that's like, okay, avoid people. Got it. But then after that, which you unlock each new area by doing the final task, which with this one was make him hammer his thumb, right? Because he goes to, once you finish every section, the person that you're messing with basically goes to put up a sign that says no goose. Yeah. No geese. And so he goes to hammer it up on his in his garden, and you basically honk at the right time, and he hammers his thumb and falls and knocks over and opens up the fence to the next area, which is really funny. And then you go to the next area, which is the shops, which is another pretty simple. I think it's really fun because you can just terrorize this little boy
who's falling and then quivering in a telephone booth.
Yeah. And then getting yourself on TV, and like that one has a lot of timing.
Yeah.
And definitely with co-op made it super easy because you could just like fully like have one person just do a completely different thing and like distract the people. But again, that one's pretty simple. It's kind of fun. It's a really big area. I think it's the biggest area. And then you got your list of things, but there's the ones.
I think the hardest one in that one was trapping the lady in the
Yes, which is the
garage.
last one. Yeah, which is the last one. Which is we just couldn't figure that out, and then we eventually got it. But the noteworthy one from that one, I think is, I think my favorite one from that is when you have to convince. It says convince somebody to buy their stuff back.
Oh yeah.
And so you steal the little boy's airplane, and then you bring it into the shop, and the shop lady chases you away, and you drop the toy, and she thinks that you were trying to steal it, so she puts it on the shelf, and the boy has to buy
it back.
It's so funny.
We also have to. One of my favorite ones was making the boy fall.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You like untie his shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, and didn't we? I don't remember. No, that was the garden one of stealing his radio.
Yeah. There was a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
That we used to like trick one of the ladies, but the other one was when you have to steal his glasses, and then you have to give him another pair of glasses
that aren't his right prescription.
Because you're chasing this boy around who's terrified of geese. You untie his shoes, you chase him, he falls flat on his face, drops his glasses. You pick up his glasses, you go to the shop,
and grab the other glasses, and then drop them by him. So he grabs them,
puts them on. Doesn't realize it all. It's like, okay, apparently those were just prescription glasses on this shop. Cool, good for him. But then after that, we go to the double backyard area, which is like these two neighbors who, this area was like probably my favorite area.
It was so fun.
It's super fun. Just the things you can do. And
this one was also a timing one.
Yeah, a lot of timing, a lot of patience.
Especially with the guy drinking his tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a guy on one side who has like this nice pristine garden, and then the lady to his left is his neighbor who's like an artist, so she has like a bunch of like, it's kind of chaotic in her backyard. She's got
like a bust of like Shakespeare, and she has this goose statue. What else?
Well, what can you do with the goose statue?
Oh, you can take it off, and around her backyard there's these little ribbons. So you can take off the statue from its place, grab a ribbon, put it in front of you, and the lady will dress you up with the ribbon. Yeah, you literally like press a button to pretend to be a statue, and you just sit there, and then she puts it on you, and then you can run away. It's so funny. But this was this is the first one where I felt really bad. It was like, you trick the neighbor into cutting the prized rose, and you're like, oh God, like it's this nice, beautiful, tall rose, and you trick the neighbor into cutting the rose off, and the guy like sadly like tapes it back together, and like, oh, that was the first time I felt actually bad about being like a dickhead goose. Like, but that one's fun because it just has a lot of interactivity. Like you were talking about with the ribbon, you can put stuff down and the lady puts it on the bust. You have to take the old man's like his hat, his glasses, his bow tie, and you drop it into like this little like part in front of the bust, and the lady just picks it up and puts it on the bust, and it's so funny seeing it pimped out. Yeah, no questions asked. She's just like, oh, I guess this just goes on. Showed up, okay. And then the funny one is when you steal the priceless vase and then bring it over, because every time you bring something from the lady's garden to the guy's garden, he throws it back over the fence, and so you drag the vase through. And then he picks it up and he throws it and just breaks it. And she's just distraught. Yeah. She's just standing there looking at her vase. It's like, so funny because he just casually like throws it thinking nothing's going to happen. And then he breaks and he's like, oh. It's so good.
And then there's the gong that like makes him spit out his tea, and like there's so many funny things that like, and it's just pretty chill. Like there's not too much that's like stressful. So that one's really fun and nice and compact in a really small area. But once you get that done, both of them put up their no geese sign, and you move on. And that was a funny transition as you go through one of the other. There's a third neighbor that you go through their house, and it's just chaos. Like you go through,
you don't see inside the house. You just hear like, psh, psh, like you're just making creating all hell in that house.
It's so funny. It's just like, just thrown in there real quickly, and then you move on and it's done. But then we get to probably the worst area, which is we had to brute force our way into this place and stay in there, which was the bar area.
Hardest part of this freaking game.
Do you want to talk about it?
So I think we just charged in there, didn't we? Because there was a way that you could just like hide in a box and then wait for the baker or delivery person to like cart you in,
which is hilarious.
But we just we were like, all right, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Yeah. And you had to like,
the barkeeper was standing right there. So there was like,
he's so aggressive.
He
chases you the whole way through this huge bar.
If you're not hidden and he sees you, you're done.
Yeah.
You gotta book it to a place where you're hidden.
Yeah.
But once we got in, for the most part, we were good. There was a part where it was just me running on the deck part, and you're like, keep him distracted as you were performing for the guests.
Yes,
so
that's the part. Yeah, that's the funniest part. I love that little bit in there. Is like there's these ladies sitting at a picnic table, and they're just chilling, and you stand on this little platform, and they tell you to do stuff, and you just do it. Like you honk and you wave
Flap
your arms,
wings.
and then lower your head, and then they give you a rose, and it's just so funny.
That entire time, the bartender was trying to get you, so I started honking at him and flapping my wings at him, and just running back and forth. I'm just doing
a performance, and then just 10 feet away on the deck is just another goose just running around terrorizing everything. But yeah, that one is definitely hard just because there's 3 different aggressive people like trying to get you out of there, and like the barkeep will definitely like push you from one side of the bar all the way out of the bar. Like he is relentless, and that was definitely the hardest area. We were stuck there for a minute. And that's the other thing is this game, we weren't doing it like completionist. We didn't do all the bonus ones that unlock after you beat the game, but we were trying to do every single thing on the list, which you technically don't have to do. You have to do like 75% of the things on the list, and then it unlocks the final task that unlocks the next area. Yeah. So, but we were sitting around doing nothing, so we decided to do everything we could.
All we had to do that day was grocery shop. So
exactly.
We were like, oh well.
We'll chill. And so then we do that, and we finally get through, which what is it? The last one's the bucket, right? You knock the bucket on the guy's head, and he like stumbles through and like unlocks a gate, or he throws away. He gets a bucket knocked on his head, falls on a thing of tomatoes, throws the tomatoes away, and leaves the
be on the garbage can as it goes out.
Yep, and then you go out, and then you just swimming through the river and like land on a little like. This is a thing. This is a very British thing, apparently. In a village, they have a little diorama of the village.
I've only seen that in Disney World.
Yeah.
With the like tiny German village.
Yes, it's very similar to that. Or if you've ever seen Hot Fuzz, there's literally one of the final scenes in that movie takes place in a small diorama of a small like British village. So like that's the only place I've seen it.
Never heard of that movie.
It's like Shaun of the Dead. Oh man, we gotta watch some movies.
Dude,
so good.
The whole reason we became like this close was because I told you at Sonic the.
Oh, that's
Sonic
true.
The Hedgehog. I told you no one takes me to movies.
Yeah, that's right. That movie is so funny. But we'll have to get to that another time. But yeah, so you kind of walk through this. You can't really do anything. You can pick some stuff up and everything, but then at the end, it's like a bell tower. And there's a little golden bell, and all it says is like...
Destroy.
Yeah, it says like, destroy the bell tower. And so you do that, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then you knock the bell down, and then you pick.
You're able to pick up the bell, and you start running.
Yeah, because it just says bring it back to the beginning, and so you have to run. And then that's another thing that we didn't really kind of like. We forgot to talk about is there is a way, like basically whenever you beat a level, there's like a little side gate in each area that kind of goes towards a center, kind of like a spokes on a wheel. And it goes towards the center, and then you can go back to any place in the beginning, whether that's through a pathway or through a river that runs back to the first pond. But you can get basically anywhere at any time through these little shortcuts. And basically we get the bell, and we have to, the first place we have to go through is through the frickin' bar, which is like the most aggressive area. And remember, I talked about anytime a human gets close to you, you drop an item. So
there was so much of, no, I dropped the bell, Eric, go back.
Yeah, get the bell. And so I remember there was a little drop off point. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's going to be perfect. We're going to cut through here, go through this.
We go to the well, drop it through the well, and then we'll just go pick it up back at the start.
Yep. And then everything was blocked off. So you have
it was locked, or like there was a board in front of it.
Yeah. Or literally, to the well. Yeah, there's literally one part that's like a bridge that has a little gap that you can normally drop off of, that somebody had put new bricks on it and like stops you from going there. And you're like, oh crap. So we have to go through the bar, through the backyard area, which
through the shops.
Yeah, through the shops, through the garden, and then finally back into the pond. And
all the way back to the edge of the forest.
Yes, where we first honked. Actually, past where you first honked. Yeah. You go a little bit there, and then what happens at the end?
Eric was like, you're not gonna believe this ending. Yeah. And so I was like, what is gonna happen?
Yeah. What did you think was gonna happen?
I didn't know.
Some eldritch horror is gonna happen, like some huge twist where there's just a bunch of dead bodies.
You were just like, you're not gonna like guess. And so he gave me the bell back because he was like, you're the first one who grabbed it. Yeah. You should be the one to place it. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. Well, we're walking back through the forest with the bell. And then we get to this ditch. And in the ditch is like 15 other bells. Yeah. And that explains why all of the community hates the goose.
Yeah. Because literally this goose just terrorizes this little village all the time. And it's so funny to just be like, yeah, why do these people hate this goose so much? And then at the end you're like, oh, yeah.
That's why.
This happens on a weekly basis probably. Like every single week. Like, no wonder the kid's afraid of a goose, because this happens to him weekly. Like, it's terrible. It's just like this whole town is just like, some British towns have dragons they're afraid of, and this one just is afraid of a goose. But yeah, the game is really, really good. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No.
No, yeah. There's not much more to say. It's a really funny
great game.
It's so funny.
It kept me entertained, and there was not a point where, like, because I get bored of games really quickly if they're not like...
Yeah.
But there was not a point where I was like, I'm kind of tired.
Yeah.
Like, there was always something new or something, like, funny to me.
Well, yeah, it's a perfect game for you, because literally you're like, what happens if I grab this? What if I do this? What if I do this? And then, like... There is a response to everything in this game. Anytime something happens, like you think like, oh, what if I grab this? There is a response.
Like, I completely didn't think that I would be able to pick up as many carrots as I was able to in the garden. And I just kept pulling carrots out of the ground. And I was like, how long is this going to go on till?
I know.
You had to go replant all of the carrots.
And yeah, you're like... You just at one point just started helping the gardener. Like, you were just putting the carrots into a basket. And I was like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm just picking carrots. I'm like, okay, I guess. Like,
we were kind of finished. We had to wait for him to get closer to the rows anyway.
That's
so I was
right,
like,
yeah.
I'll just put a carrot in a basket, see what happens.
Yeah. But yeah, this game was really good. It was a lot of fun. A very easy afternoon, I would say. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, please tell somebody. Word of mouth is the best way to spread the word about a new podcast. If you listen to on any podcatcher that does reviews, please leave a review. Whether it's just a star review or an actual review, like on Apple Podcasts, that really helps the channel grow. The podcast. It is a channel technically.
Going back to your YouTube era.
Yeah, it's kind of tough not to. We're still on Twitter. Not sure how that'll go in the near future, but I think it'll be fine.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm experimenting with other social medias, but some of them are kind of complicated. I'm trying to figure out how Mastodon works, which is very strange, but I'm getting there.
I really should try to post something.
Oh yeah,
Twitter.
go ahead. Yeah, it's totally fine.
If
but
you see random shit posts, it's probably me.
if you see posts about the Game Awards, that's me.
Oh, yeah.
But to follow us on Twitter, it is ShortLongPod on Twitter. That's where you'll get all the updates of when a new episode is up. But also you can probably turn on notifications on Spotify. That would help. Leaving a review and following. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm on Mr. the Human. That's with an MR on Twitter. I'm on basically everything else as Mr. the Human if you want to come find me there, but I really don't post anywhere else as of right now. We'll see. Maybe Tumblr. I don't know. I haven't been on Tumblr since like 2012, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, do you have any closing thoughts for the audience?
Nah.
Okay, cool. I very much appreciate the support we're getting. The amount of listeners we have is kind of crazy to me.
I don't know the technicality, but sometimes Eric will send me a screenshot because I'll like retweet like, oh my god, thanks for all the support, or like I'll be on my Instagram like story and I'll be like, oh my god, you guys, thanks for all the support, and Eric will be like, hey, this is the support, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'll just be like, oh, cool. Don't know what half of that means, but sick.
Yeah,
that many listeners. Golly.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, we're not like crushing things, but for first time podcasting, first time like actually taking it serious since I was like, I don't know. I feel like this podcast actually has a purpose, whereas my other podcasts were just me kind of talking into a microphone.
And also for a 17-year-old who hasn't actually tried to be like an online person.
Presence.
Yeah, presence.
Influencer.
No.
Not yet.
No.
We did actually have somebody reach out for sponsorship, which I thought was funny. It wasn't like anything big, and I was just like, you're sketchy, so no. But that means people are looking. That's how it starts. That's how you know you're actually getting noticed, is when you start to get people that are sketchy reaching out to you through email. I'm like, cool. That means somebody's listening.
Yeah.
And shout outs to, let me see real quick. I want to maybe start doing this because we are obviously, if you didn't know, a US based podcast, but that doesn't mean all of our listeners are from the US. Speaking of which, we have 1% of the United Kingdom. Sorry about the British jokes.
I don't actually have a thing against the British.
No, but also 6% South Korea.
Oh.
Very cool. I like that a lot. 2% Mexico. That makes sense.
My family.
Yeah. And 1% United Arab Emirates, which, cool. And another 1% of Belgium. So, pretty spread out. Pretty wild. I really appreciate all the support, like I said, and we have quite a range of listeners, and it's just been really cool to see the numbers go up, which is great. But word of mouth is the best way, and reviews help bring the show to notice on those platforms. So thank you guys so much, and I think we haven't decided on the next game, but I think it'll probably be either Gone Home or, because I get to pick this time, Gone Home, Firewatch, or What Remains of Edith Finch, which are all walking simulators and should be a nice chill time for Christmas. In the future, if we continue to do this for another year, what I want to do in December is a game of the year, not for the games that we like have come out in the year, but the games we played that year, which could range from 12 to 15 games, depending on how many games we get in for the year. But I think it'd be cool to kind of rank which ones we thought were best. So that's a plan for the future. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I don't know how long this is because I have to edit it, but it's probably a nice quickie. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.